imagine if there was a society where polygamy was openly practiced and it was completely acceptable. Most men idea towards it,
Right.
the next day would change.
Right.
Right? That's just a fact. The
Right.
only reason that people are not practicing it today, right, openly is because it's illegal besides what Utah, right? If it was legal, and I don't see how gay marriage can be legal and, marrying multiple spouses isn't.
Right.
That to me, I think, is the sham of the world because people did not accept gay marriage until it was legal, right? So people we got a social contract and we consider something to be immoral because we connect that to legality, right? So I think that most people's views on it is literally because of the law. And most men will have more upfront, conversations about their desires, and more women will change their psychological disposition towards it if it was open in society legal.
Welcome to the Man to Man podcast, where we talk like God. Man to Man.
Peace, family. Welcome to the Man to Man podcast. I'm your host, Steve Jones. You know I got my brother 19 Keys with me.
Yeah, I'm in the building.
How you doing today, black
Man,
man?
I'm immaculate, man. You understand about?
Yeah.
So I'm feeling good, looking
flat.
good. Man, thank you, brother. You understand me? That's what birds do, man. You know what I'm talking about? All I was just saying is it's part of my nature. That's all I was saying.
It's giving me 2023 Michael Myers vibes, with a little swag to it,
Nah, that didn't make no sense.
Man, go ahead, man. I like to look like a jumpsuit.
I'm fly, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's
You gotta,
fly. I like
you gotta switch it up for the year. And I'm here to switch it up for the year, man. You understand me? So I always gotta start it off with some new dreads. Some new threads.
Some new threads, yeah.
Some new threads. It's the details. You know what I'm saying? You check the details on that one right there. I like the cuff, you feel me? I like the little Velcro strap they got on there with the button, the sideways. Yeah, look like a transformer.
I ain't gonna lie though, I'm kind of sold on the crown, man.
Yeah.
Like what material is that right there?
Oh man, it's the satin with the bullion, gold, 24 karat. I designed this myself, every inch of it. It's true. It's so funny, man. I ain't even said a joke.
What's been on your mind, man? What you want to talk about today, man, for the people, man? We time to get on some knowledge or something, or, maybe some laughs or something. Who knows, man? What come out of this conversation?
I'm trying to think of what's been going on lately, man. We had a good conversation talking about the AI stuff. You feel me? Money, relationships. I feel like the world trying to become a polygamous society.
I've been saying, what's his name? P. Diddy, he make it look real good, he got the baby mama with the new girl, with the side chick, and they all hanging out together.
Who the side chick?
I don't want to do that. I don't know who the side chick is. Y'all can get on Google and Instagram and do all that, but y'all seen it like I seen it, But what you think about polygamy though? Because I ain't gonna lie.
Let me ask AI, what AI think about polygamy?
For me, I'm gonna tell you what I think about it. For me, if I was to indulge in polygamy, right, as of right now, it'd be only for sexual reasons. I don't think I want to deal with learning two women mentally, but I ain't got the time and patience for that right now. So I don't even think I'll do polygamy, but right now, personally, because if I was to do it right now, it'll only be for sexual reasons.
So right now, if you practice polygamy, which is, here's the idea though. So, let's first go with, polygamy and what's the definition of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the practice of having one or more wives, right, at the same time. It's been practiced by many cultures. It still is in religions all around the world today. Most societies today recognize monogamy or practice for having one wife or husband. It's the cultural norm, right? But in many places, especially outside the Western world, it is practiced in a form of polygamy, right? It says in some cultures, polygamy was seen as a sign of wealth and status, and it was often practiced by the elite, right? Which is an important note in this whole concept and idea when we talk about who is elite, right? So that's what we're about to go into, because I want to get to this. So the elite obviously are those who are the small group of people with disproportionate amount of power and wealth, you know, in any society. Whether that's economic elite, political elite, social elite, military elite, you know, those are the people that have a considerable amount of power, knowledge, resources. And so the average man, like let's say, like if I was to say polygamy as a practice, I would say first for the elite. Why? Because I think that
it makes sense.
Yeah.
You can afford both, you know, everybody, you know.
And they have more responsibility, right? So right now you have social elite. Most people know about the social elite. Those are the celebrities with a high level of social influence and status, right? Artists, academics, right? And so, you know, like there's a small percentage of men who have resources that have the ability to take care of two households at the same time, right? And that's key because a man is supposed to protect, provide, produce, right, all of that. So you have to do that times two, right? Only a man of resources can do that, right? Like, let's say, you know, you being a, you know, it's like, you know, even when it comes to being a father of a lot of children, right? Could be the same responsibility of being a husband of multiple wives. Because if you got like 10 kids, right? What makes you qualified? This is the interesting thing about society. One can say that a person is qualified to have a lot of children for no reason, right? Like what makes you qualified to have a lot of children? Versus somebody saying, well, what makes you qualified to have multiple spouses, right? To me, I think that these are of the same. When I say, you know, like a person having 10 children, I think you should have resources as well. Right, you should be in a certain class in order to have that many children because how can you protect, provide, right? How do you have influence to make sure that they make it in the world, right? Do you have resources, networks? Do you have a certain level of knowledge in academia in order to, you know, be able to provide the solutions that a large group may need? Same thing. So if you got, it's a man with two wives, you understand me? He's going to need those same level of provision, right? Of taking care of multiple women as it is taking care of multiple children, right? So I think now we have a society where people have multiple, you know, baby mothers and they're taking care of multiple children, but there is no qualifications. And then we can tell because of look at what happened in society. You understand me? So I think that if we just look at it like that, you start to look at it in a different, completely manner, right? Then, you know, what does a person desire? What are your qualifications first?
Right. I was doing a little research on it, and I was looking at the pros and cons of it, and one thing that I did see for the people who practice polygamy, let's say for an example, the woman in a relationship, she might feel like, you know what I'm saying, as long as it go on, the longer it go on, I want to say, as they in a relationship, she might feel signs that she can't make it on her own or something, you know, or she not worthy enough to be, you know, express herself fully because she have to, everything she got to do got to be in correlation and harmony with that relationship. Right. But she never reach her full potential, though, in her mind, you know. Do you think, like, people don't even think about that aspect of it before they rush in it?
I don't think people think about much besides their own personal desires when they get into relationships. You understand me? Especially like just think about when you're a child. Like I think most people's ideas of relationships stems from when you're a child, and it goes back into your ideas that come from TV, movies, right? Stuff that you've seen, high school sweetheart type love. I don't think many people think about, you know, real life. You know, what is the responsibility, the qualifications, the vision, the alignment, all of those things they gotta line up long term. That's not most people's thoughts. Most people, like when they really seeking out a person, it's based on, you know, possibly an immature, over-romanticized idealism of, you know, their heart's desires. You know what I'm saying? It ain't really, I think, steeped into, you know, rational thinking. You know, because marriage should be a rational conquest, not a love conquest, right? Because marriage is the very contract of getting married is logical. Yes, you're creating an agreement with the state that recognizes you two as a partnership, right? So You know, it's the same as somebody may have a passion towards starting a business, but when you actually start running that business, there are qualifications that make you a good, right, business owner or entrepreneur. And there are certain skills you have to learn. And so it's the same thing in a marriage or a relationship. You may be your heart's desire, but what about the skills and the qualifications you will require in order to be successful in that? You did?
What did you do you see yourself like in the future or something practicing polygamy?
Nah, man. What?
He said it in the falsetto though.
No, because people been asking me that. It's like, you know.
You gotta say it with some bass or something.
No. That's what you gotta do. You just gotta understand. I think it's every young man's dream.
Yeah.
Right. I
To
think
have
every
two
young man-
baddies when you walk in.
Yeah, multiple women, especially a man like me. I'm a very masculine, you know, powerful, you know, brave.
What about a
human
man
being.
like me?
Yeah, I mean, you just said you said you just trying to knock him down. You feel me?
Nah,
But I you know, listen. I don't have any plans, right?
right.
But I'm just saying, like, there's this other thought process where it's like, you know, imagine if there was a society where polygamy was openly practiced and it was completely acceptable. Most men idea towards it,
Right.
the next day will change.
Right.
Right? That's just a fact. The only reason that people are not practicing it today, right, openly is because it's illegal besides what you taught. Right? If it was legal, and I don't see how gay marriage can be legal and, you know, marrying multiple spouses isn't.
Right.
That to me, I think, is the sham of the world. Because people did not accept gay marriage until it was legal. Right? So people we got a social contract and we consider something to be immoral because we connect that to legality. Right? So I think that most people's views on it is literally because of the law. And most men will have more upfront, you know, conversations about their desires, and more women will change their psychological disposition towards it if it was open in society legally. That's just my thoughts.
And people still doing it. I don't care if it's illegal or not, man. It's America. But anyway, man, that goes like in the same sense of the monogamous relationship. When people go and say they think a relationship should be 50-50. What you think about that?
I think it should be 100-100. I don't believe in that. Look, that 50-50 thing and have a man and having no. Listen, you know, nowadays there are men who want to be women and women who want to be men, right? Males are masculine who want to be feminine, feminine who wants to be masculine. Every household has to have masculine and feminine energies. These polarizing energies, right, create the synergy. It's like the yin and the yang for things to flow in rhythm. When things are going up, somebody has to be bringing things down. Things are going down, somebody bringing them up. That's the wave of life, right? When these things are outside of, you know, order, right, that's when you start to get chaos, right? That idea of 50-50, I don't know where that comes from, but that's never been the case in the world, right? You know, each person does what they can do based on their nature, right, and the roles that they play. If a man is rich, why would he want a woman to go 50-50 with him? Why would that even make sense? Right? How could that even make any sustainable sense? Because now you're incurring upon her, right, a financial stress, right, when you can just bless the whole situation and it doesn't have no bothersome to you at all. A man is a provider and a caretaker. You just got to do that. Otherwise, man, you don't need a woman. Like, just chill. Get you some money first. Stack up. But I think more so on that 50-50, I mean, that's why I say 100-100. Each person brings what they can to the table in totality of themselves.
Right.
Right? And they both are adding in all that they can add.
Because when you going 50-50, you already building it on the wrong foundation. Because that means somebody faking. They ain't putting their all in it on each end. Matter of fact,
50-50 could be easier for some person and not for the other. So a person may not even have to put their all in this. Man, that's 50. I pay their little bills. Right. That's nothing for me. No,
Right.
but like it's more so go 100. You understand me? What I do, match that energy,
Right.
right? With what you do, but I'm 100% in this. You 100% in this.
I need 100% of your attention, your
Yeah.
love, affection, motivation, appreciate 100% of all
I'm gonna
that.
take care of the home. I'm gonna take care of us emotionally, spiritually, financially, all of that. I got that. Now, your role is you 100% in. You don't think about, well, I'm taking care of, so you're not doing it. You're thinking about all of the other things that you can add into to make this thing even more successful, right? And so that these things continue to grow. And so I think that if each person focuses on bringing, that's like saying that I'm gonna bring half my love to the table, you bring half your love. Nah, man, I want a 200% return when we come together. You did?
So you ain't never been in a 50-50 relationship? No. That's for suckers and soy boys and shit.
That's soy boy activity. I'm a different type of guy though, man. You know, I wouldn't do that. Not an actual, but I ain't really been in a lot of real relationships, I would say. You understand me? Someone was just situationships. You feel me? So being in a real relationship, you feel comfortable in that role as a man. You understand me? Like, you feel comfortable being that provider and granting that freedom. And at the same time, there's nothing wrong with assisting a woman with her dreams. You understand me? While she assisting you on your team.
Then when I hear people talking like that anyway, first thing I think of is they're saying, I'm matching your energy. And I think that's dangerous when people say that they match your energies, because now you letting somebody else, frequency and vibration control the way that you move and you act and you respond to, to everything in life. You know what I'm saying? You like that saying? I'm matching the energy. I'm matching energy.
On what kind of energy I'm putting out. If I'm giving out a certain energy, you can't match my energy in the sense of like, the masculine energy I provide, but you match energy in the sense that if I'm giving 100%, you give 100%. You understand me? But at the same time, it shouldn't go into any reciprocal bitterness. Like, I feel like sometimes that...
But that's what it normally, end up becoming.
Yeah.
That's what it grows into.
The thing about relationships is they can go all kind of different ways. But I know most important, communication, right? I seen something they say, well, a man wants respect more than anything, and that's true. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I don't get respect, there's nothing else.
That was the topic I was going to talk about. Respect or love. Which one is more important to a man in a relationship?
Respect.
It's the respect, huh?
Love is like, like respect is a form of love. That's a love language for men.
Right.
You understand me? Like, if you respect us, right, you're going to treat us a certain way. You're not just like we talked about verbal abuse and the other one. Right. You're not going to say certain things. You're not going to do certain things, right? You respect me. You respect yourself, right? Then that respect that protects a man's reputation as well. It protects your reputation as well. That's all a man got. You understand me in this world, and so.
Especially in public.
That's key, especially a real man. That's something that they vary in different degrees of what they consider to be respectful, right? But you have to respect the person to the highest degree that they respect themselves, right? So, some people will have higher expectations than others because of the way I respect myself and what I do and who I know I am. And so it's up to you to study and to know that, because if you don't respect me based on how I respect myself, how I show up for myself, how I understand myself, then it's going to be a discrepancy there. Right. You did? Let me ask you something, man. You ever been friend zone before?
Have I ever been friend zone?
When you was trying to get in the end zone, you been friend zone.
Oh, yeah. I've been friend zone before, but then this how it always play out, right? In situations like that, where I'm going to talk from my experience. I was friend zone. Tried to get on and whatnot. Tragic moment, right? Wrong. What I kept doing was chasing the purpose, you hear me? And I got on my shit, So, later on down the line, they tried to swing back around, and I just had to remind them it's a platonic relationship. We friends.
So you ain't she gave you room to grow. You understand? Yeah. But you ain't double back. Why? You was bitter about it?
Nah, because I felt like I in my mind, like when I see things like that, I feel like, man, a lot of people don't really want to. They don't like the process. They like the end results, And I stay away from that because I feel like shit. The process is what make me. or what makes you, the process is how you get your character and all that.
But
You know
how many
that-
times did this happen to you? Like, this a lot? This is like,
Nah, this ain't. It's just you just have it ever happen. You hear me? Nah, this ain't no normal thing. I'm a vibe. You hear me?
Yeah.
A vibe. Like I'm in the cut. You know.
Yeah.
Have you ever been friend zone?
Maybe, I don't remember.
Maybe.
I gotta think about it. You know, that's. I'm trying to, when somebody asks you a question, you gotta think of a specific instance.
Shit.
You understand me? I think so, though. I think so. Like, I think I remember that feeling that you're describing right now. Right, but not really, though.
What's the feeling though?
It's like being Steve Jones. No. Oh man, that's funny. No, I think that it happened to everybody. Hell yeah. I'm trying to think of like specific when it mattered. I don't think it ever happened when it mattered. You feel me? But it definitely happened before.
Same from the younger days.
Yeah, it was young when I don't think I was trying to be all cool with everything. You feel me? When you try to play extra cool, but then I learned my powers.
Right.
You understand me? And I think the friend zone goes when you chasing something. You can only be friend zone, right, when you chasing something. But when like you said, if any man that's in pursuit of his purpose, ain't no friend zone.
But it happened from the aspect too. I want to break this down. I've been friend zone before from a girl that I really wanted, and fast forward looking back now, I'm glad that she did that because at the time I wasn't the man that I should have been, that I could have been for her at the time, you know?
Yeah, but I don't. That's interesting because I think I remember that. Nah, it ain't never happened in the sense of like somebody that I really wanted though.
Nah, this happened to somebody I was on.
Nah.
Like I think I bought her some diamond earrings and everything. Yeah.
Oh no,
My
that's
cousin was like,
you but
"Damn, bro, you hear me? Why you do that?"
No, because
I'm
I
like,
remember,
well, shit,
I remember this one girl. I ain't gonna say her
What's
name
the
or
name?
nothing, but I feel like, I had a heart's crush on her. You feel me? But and I believe I could have got her, but at the time I didn't make the move. Now when I did learn the game right on what I needed to do, she was on me. You dig? But I didn't make the move, right? And then fast forward years later, opportunity, opened up, and then, I still ain't bust a move for a particular reason. It had nothing to do with her. It was just my living situation at the time.
Right.
You understand me? But I'm one of them person. I don't think nobody ever pursued. Like later down the line, they all come back around. Every single last one.
I mean,
So it's never been like a forever. It's maybe a temporary. I ain't never had forever situations like you.
he trying to put a 10 on, like I was walking around this motherfucker.
Yeah, I probably had a temporary. Like little temporary. All of them was temporary. Because once you see the guy, then she realized I was tripping. What was I tripping on at the time? You understand me? But that's why I mean, like, I'm that type of person every year you see me, I'm gonna get better. You understand me? So like, you might have friends on who I was, but not who I am. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. But then, see, when you do, fellas, when you do get friends on, always remember this. Thank God for Instagram. Because you can just,
Right.
scroll down Instagram and see something else that you might spark your interest. But try not to get the Instagram models, you gotta scroll for the women who got stuff going on. That's,
Right. So speaking of friend zones and polygamy, right?
Yeah.
Open and closed relationships. Have you ever been in an open relationship?
And what?
An open relationship,
Like,
where you and your girl can have other sexual partners.
nah. See, when I hear stuff like that mean like you don't want to be in a relationship for real, but you still want to do what you want to do, but nobody telling you what to do or checking you what to do, So I wouldn't even play myself like that.
It's cats now that like my crazy thing is the fact that you don't mind somebody stabbing your chick.
Man, nah, that would have me going crazy.
Right.
Like, I don't even want that anxiety. Why would I open the door for that?
Cheek checking your chick while you gone. She getting cheek checked and she come back and give you a peck on the lips or the nah, that's crazy.
And
That's
then it ain't
wild.
the same with, you know, when a guy go mess with a girl, it's probably no emotional attachment.
Right.
9 times out of 10, but on the flip side, when a
Yeah.
woman do it, you know what it is.
doing
Like,
on the
she
slow
actually
jet.
like him, she picked him.
Yeah.
You know, so
But that's becoming like a new norm though. You know what I'm saying, nowadays.
so you might as well not even be in a relationship.
But that's what some people consider to be a viable, so-called healthy alternative, morally and emotionally.
What's healthy about it?
I mean, I don't know, man, but I'm saying, like, I guess just the idea that some people are what they consider to be in this new day and age, right? Sexually free, where they're more of the type that don't believe they can be beholden to one person. Like, specifically, I think that will go, I think that's what it is, like on the man and the woman side. So a woman say that, look, she loves you, but she needs to be able to have the freedom of exploring multiple partners.
Nah, I can't live like that, you know. Can live, it ain't no order, ain't no structure, you know. And then it'll have me ego tripping, you know, for real. It'll have me in my little, being my little self. I can't grow in a relationship
Yeah,
like
I don't
that.
think a man is supposed to share his woman at all.
Yeah. I need something exclusive, you know.
I don't think so. I don't think it was. I don't think that makes any sense scientifically, mathematically. You understand me? Like, nah, it's just that's over with. All right. So, what about why do you think the nice guy stereotype? How do you think that started in the first place? Right? Just that whole nice guys finish last, right? Where it could be a person that's positive and healthy, right? Versus somebody that is the so-called bad boy ideology, but that was something that was desired. You dig? So like,
Right.
if you grew up like me, you know, being young, your goal is, I just be nice to her as much as possible, and I'm gonna get her. You get her the flowers, you do all of the nice, healthy, positive things, but she wants the person that's talking slick to her. You understand me? That's kind of like manipulative to her. That got the reputation of kind of being a little on the dark side. So where do you think that comes from?
I think it came from curiosity. People get adrenaline rushes from seeing things that they normally won't get the experience on a day-to-day basis. Like for an action movie or something, like a suburban kid listening to hip hop, they don't understand that they ain't gonna never live like this, be riding around toting guns, but just to hear it and see it and listen to it, they're amused by it. It stimulates that, you know.
Yeah, that and alphas. You understand me? Like, if you what society deemed as was square, right? Like
Right.
the positive, play by the rules, right? Person versus the rebellion one, right? The forbidden one.
When they want to take the risk, you know.
Right. She feels like she's going to experience more with you, right? And so that's why it's like, for me though, it's like the soldier versus the gangster, right? Both of them can have the same type of persona, but the soldier got more discipline, right? But the soldier can kill the gangster, or the gangster can kill the soldier. The soldier done been through battle experience, the gangster's the street experience, right? They both can have the same alpha persona, right? And I think that was like, you know, probably what most people don't understand is like women want strength, right? They want somebody that's have more of that conquering energy, right? Rather than somebody that's passive. So you can still be positive and healthy, but you got to be in your masculine. And so what I think most people perceive as the bad boy was more so the masculine, right? But it was the hyper masculine archetype, right? Versus the regular, right? Now you got my archetype that's the divine, you know, masculine archetype, right? The God, right? Versus, you know, you got the little thugs out there or the little gangsters or anything other than the God is little, right? But when you say, I'm a God, baby, like, what you talking about? Like, I ain't got to do nothing negative. I ain't got to do none of that, but it's like who I am, my presence, what I represent. That's a new archetype that man can now, you know, that can supersede the idea of, I'm the good God. That's right. Yeah, I ain't gonna let nobody talk to me a certain way. I ain't gonna let nobody do certain things. I'm gonna move a certain way. I'm gonna do what I want. My rebellion, right, is against certain systems and orders and constructs. I'm here to make my own way, right? So like, but there are still women, we know that she just wants a nigga from the hood.
Yeah.
Like that's what, you know, that's what she's attracted to. That's what stimulates
See,
her.
well, a couple years ago, I would agree with that statement right there, that that's what they want now. I don't know what women want now. Because I be seeing relationships now, like, they be with the guy who supposed to be a thug, but he got his nails and shit painted or something, you know?
Well, women accept
Like,
that.
I don't know.
They
Like,
call
so
that. I
it's
think
all
that's
confusing.
in the book of Art of Seduction. Those are fancies, right? They dress.
What's the
colorful.
name of it?
The Art of Seduction. So
Yeah,
it's
I
different
read it.
archetypes, right? I think those are the fancies, right? Yeah. And so, you know, the guys that like dress more feminine and are artful and colorful and things of that nature. But the thing about women is women are more on a spectrum than men. Men are more like, this is who I am. Women are more flowy. Right. So women will accept what almost a lot of different things that a man does, right? She goes with the flow, right? And so, you know, for women, like we set rules on what we believe are no-nos. Where women really don't have an issue with those, right? And so it's like the painting of the nails. A woman never had it. It was the men that was like, that to me, you're showcasing an expression that you're not like me. Because I don't need to express myself in that manner, so we must be different archetypes. So men was saying that, well, that's not acceptable around me because that's not the standard that I live by. So with you having the necessity for that, you want the fancies.
Speaking of thugs or whatnot, right? What is the new thug gang? What is a thug gang 2023 mean? Because like me, honestly,
I don't know.
I don't think it is no more. Like I don't think, you know, street rules don't even matter no more. I think y'all should just stop doing crime altogether because even the fact of being labeled a snitch in 2023 don't mean nothing because there's no consequences behind it. You know, there's no punishment behind it. So what's the point of even giving somebody that jacket? What you think lacking, you know what I'm saying, in hip hop as far as the, well, I know what's lacking, the integrity. Do you think hip hop can get the integrity back or will it ever get it back?
Man, that's a question for a scholar. You know,
that's what
does integrity look like in hip hop is the question. I think hip hop is an expression of the time. It really is. Hip hop goes through different flows of times. It can curate it, it can observe it, it can express it. I think we are at an unprecedented time in history. There was the revolution of the 60s, coming out of the 70s, the 80s, right? Then you had the crack era growing. Then you had, right, all of the police brutality and terrorism that was happening. And so rappers back then, you know, some of their music was an expression rebelling against the system, right? Then you had the wars, right, in hip hop, right, East versus West. Then music became, you know, less about rebellion against the system and then fighting each other, right? Because now you got gangs. So now the music reflected the expression towards, no, not just fuck the police, fuck them niggas, right? So now, you know, they talking about killing each other rather than breaking down the system, right? And now we got, you know, a world where the constructs of masculine and feminine are being broken, right? And you also have, you know, the streets and the side effects of that movement. And so these young cats, right, they are showcasing an expression the times that we live in because they are the outcome of that process that we've been through this whole entire time throughout hip hop, right? Because you had a lot of the consciousness that grew up all the way from the rolling 20s to 30s, right? From black empowerment movements, right? When black men started to know thyself, that was shared in the household. And then when they started rapping, peace, God, they were spitting that in the lyrics, right? The Rakims, right? The KRS-Ones,
the Wu-Tang.
Right? The Wu-Tang clans. And so you got to look at today's children, this generation, you know, we are the outcome of all those different things rolled up into one, right? And you now have, you know, a society that's had a black president, a society that has social media, a society that is destroying constructs, a society where children have less fathers, a society of police brutality being prevalent at the same time, systematic injustices, and each person is deciding what they want to pick up to talk about based on what is hitting them the most, right? And so, hip hop, it really is sometimes a mirror, right? And then you have the system of hip hop, right? Which is a system of the record labels and what they allow to be the noise, what they allow to be the frequency, what gets played on the radio based on the money, the machine, the marketing behind it, right? You have streaming companies. So, but then we see brothers like LaRussell, we see people like Kendrick and Cole and Bashir and Simba and, Jack Heller.
Jack Heller classic.
And we say, well, the people still want to hear that because it's necessary. We still want to hear, that expression from those minds who are basically telling us, listen, it's way more than what they saying is going on. Imagine if the news or TV only literally showed one type of genre, right? And it was just crime and murder. You get tired of that. Like, in the moment somebody else made something that was sci-fi, you jumping on it, right? The moment somebody make a love story, you jumping on it.
But let's stick to the question though. What does integrity look like in the future for hip hop? Like, how can we get that back in hip hop?
Well, I mean, not just integrity goes towards being real, right? So, like, this is the thing. When we see somebody who really has lived a lifestyle and they rap about it and they're just expressing their life, we feel a connection between their expression and their experience, right? And so if they're expressing their experience, their outlook, right, surviving, getting through it, right, there's now this genre of like pain music today where cats is like really trying to, utilize music as therapy through their pain, right? Like, I don't really relate to pain music now. When I was younger, I liked a lot of pain music. I didn't know that that's what that was called, right? Like, cats talking about they dead homies and the music was
the Boosie and Willie, that was pain music.
I didn't know that that's what that was called. But think about it, there's so many black men with mental health issues today. Their only outlet a lot of time is hope, and that hope is found in the therapy of music, right? Like, I was watching Walking Dead, and he was explaining, he said, because they in this, they get to the Walking Dead, and this is a guy named Negan, and he had ran his organization based on fear. That's how he kept people in control. But he was like, the fear works if you got the resource, you got the muscle behind it. But he was like, because he got caught by another guy who ran his operation off fear. So he like, I seen this playbook before. And so instead he said he go to this black dude who was once a leader and he ran his off hope. So he said, I can't inspire fear in order to get people to want to buck against the system.
Right.
I have to give them hope, right? You got to give them the polar opposite, right? So instead, and when I think about that, I think about that in terms of, what's needed as an outlet of expression, right? And hip hop becomes, man, I could be a famous rapper. I could get on. This is my hope. When you got nothing and you feel like the world has forgotten about you, nobody empathizes with you, you stress, you got depression, anxiety, right? And then somebody says, well, you might be a famous rapper. And that studio is your only hope, right? And so that's what a lot of black men and women today are finding the only right value of hope is, damn, I can do this, though.
Right.
I can rap, I can sing, I can express myself. So to answer your question, though, like, and I'm saying it like this because there's a lot of nuance in that. It's like the integrity is that real connection between, that thing that you're expressing, who you are. Right? When it becomes commercialized, it's not integrable because in the sense that the idea of hip hop is something real, right? The sense that the idea of hip hop is a soul, it's a spirit. And so you believe that authenticity should come from the soul and spirit, the heart, the mind, right? But now it's commercialized. It comes from your ability to get $1. Right? Now, if a person tells you up front, I'm not really a gangster rapper, but listen, I want to entertain y'all, so I'm really good at rapping about gangster rap. I'm really good about depicting these stories. It's unintegrable when a person tries to act like that's who they are because you're good at the theater of rap, right? And so that's what we got caught up in. People that was literally entertainers, they're good at the theater of rap, right? They are thespians, if you will. Like, they're good at the skill of it, the art of it, but that's not you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, a person rapping about pimping if he ain't never pimped.
That's why we got to quit glorifying all that low vibrational shit. Yeah. But it ain't even just hip hop either, because I don't like, you know, people try to shed all that attention toward the rap, like that's what's detrimental to the community. But have you heard this R&B music that's going out, you know, lately?
No, actually.
Man, it's toxic. The R&B singers, man, they can say whatever on the planet, the most toxic shit, but it sounds so good.
R&B always been toxic though.
Yeah, but now though, it's flat out like, get money, F that nigga, or vice versa, you know, but they singing it though. Like it ain't no...
Yeah, because I feel like the R&B wanted to be more like the rappers. The rappers was the ones who getting the looks, so they, well, I'm going to rap about this.
Right.
I'm going to sing about this. But I feel like if you really listen to the lyrics, and I ain't got none in my head I can think about right now, but go listen to your favorite R&B songs, right? Someone was talking about stalking, right? Most of them was talking about sex, right? They was tripping in them songs back in the day, so-called soul music. That's what our parents was growing, but they just said it so much smoother because it was soul music, right? It was hitting your soul. It was toxifying.
What was the Keisha Cole song, man, back in the day? She said, I should have cheated. I should have cheated, right?
That wasn't the old school songs I was talking about.
That's the old school now, you hear me? It's well now, but it's probably, you know, that was adolescent years.
Y'all put it in the comments. Y'all know what songs I'm talking about.
Yeah. You talking about that was too loose. But yeah, but that song though, for instance though, like the lyrics on that, why she just ain't break up with him?
She was I don't know. She was in the cycle. She was in the cycle.
But no, I like the song though.
I think the whole idea. No, shout out to Keisha Cole. She's from Oakland. I think the idea is about regrets more so than anything. You understand me? That it only comes from hindsight, right? So I don't think I don't know. I can't remember the song like just verbatim, and I can't really give you a detailed analysis of that. But just the idea of society, period. Like what we consider to be toxic today, we can nobody really wants to just listen to healthy and positive songs. I love you, everything is going right, we just gonna love forever and good night.
So why you be mad when I be listening to Future all the time?
I don't get mad. Why would I get angry at your song choice?
I mean, whatever you call it. Why you be, you know?
I think it says you only listen to Future. Like anytime what you listening to and it's Future. But I think there's a like Future is not the soundtrack to like godliness. So it'd be like what we curate, you understand me, is like this is a God movement. So Future is not the soundtrack to that. That ain't God business. So there's a disconnect that I feel like, so that's why when we talk about expression, it's like, you know, you're on your way to the club, you're on your way to, you know, something entertaining, you're on your way to go vibe out in the gym possibly. You got on that music, but it's like, I think in like the household, or where you thinking about intellectual ideas and things, I don't think that that's where that music fits, right? Like there's certain places that you wouldn't play that music because it would be disruptive, and there are certain places where it flows. So I think about that. Like I don't listen to a lot of music. Only time I listen to music really when I go to the gym, and the reason I stopped doing that because a lot of the music be disruptive to the thought processes that I want to have on the daily.
In your head.
Yeah, I hate that. And it ain't nothing that's like progressive. It ain't nothing, you know, that's valuable. Not even positive, valuable. Like it don't have no value. It ain't projecting me towards it. Like Nipsey Hussle, you went like his music, you know, was inspirational, right? You know, he still talked that talk, but it was inspirational. Like this is the type of music that's powering the type of life that I want to live. Right, so like that music was the soundtrack, the marathon, right? That music had an idea around it. That's why that's the difference. I don't care.
See, but also though, like for an example,
music is programming too. You gotta be careful what you listen to and the outcome that you get.
Yeah, but also at the same time, people have experience attached to those, you know what I'm saying, certain artists or certain songs, you know what I'm saying? So that's probably why.
But that's not a good thing though. Like, why relive those experiences?
What if it was a good experience though? Not nothing necessarily
bad. The past is the past. You know what I'm saying? Once it happens, it's already past. What we got memories for?
So we should always be listening to music that keep us on the forward projection, right?
Oh, like when you said it about anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I don't listen. Like, there's a lot of things that's nostalgic. Like, when we grow up, we listen to the Drought 3. Anytime I hear that in the car, it's that's nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
That takes me back to a moment in time. But I don't need music that constantly connects me back to my old self. I like music that's projected.
You gotta have the balance, right? Yeah,
But but for me as a music person, as a person that digests music, now I'm saying this as who I am now. Like, I could listen to any type of music, any and all genres of music, right? Of hip hop rather. But when I'm talking about like programming my mind, what I feel like is the best, because you talk about an information diet, right?
Right.
It's the same thing when it comes to a music diet. Music is information. If it can literally transport you to different places and experiences of who you are, we hold on to those things. But if we evolve, we no longer need to be transported back to those places. If we have better memories, we don't need to relive the old memories. So
Right.
I rather music that's transporting me back, and I'm out. Like, I think it's a good sign when you outgrow things. It means you evolving, like you're shedding. Like, that sound that used to click to me, I don't like it no more. You know what I mean? I got a new taste palette. Like, my shit is at a higher level now. Like, now, in order for you to impress me, you got to do better, right? So I feel like that's how the world should be. And so, but when you want to listen to something, it's literally you jumping from your high level that you at now. Oh, well, I'm about to turn this on now. Not that this is still my flow, but you know what? That ain't gonna lie. That kind of hit though. You know, he talking about sliding, killing, murdering, robbing, drug stealing. You know, all of the things though. But the vibe. But that's not my life though, right? But I caught a quick vibration on that, and then I jumped back into my life. So when you allow it to be the soundtrack and it's dominating, it lets you know that that's still probably part of your psyche. You haven't really advanced past that yet.
Right, because you know a lot of people do what the music say. Not that I'm out here living like Future.
Yeah, I don't think music is like an instruction to that like influences people to live a certain way. I think that it's more of a mental levels that you at, spiritual levels that you at. Like, yo, I'm still connected, influenced to this low vibration, right? Like, think about that. Like, if
you might not be doing it, but it's still a connection, some type of connection. So what's the connection?
It's a low vibration. Like, some music is literally like if you go look at the lyrics. They're not sophisticated or nothing. It doesn't make you think or anything, right? It's just a low vibration, and it's like, oh, it's easier to just vibe in here and not really think.
So I need to be listening to some afrobeats.
I mean, you can listen to whatever you want to, but I'm not here to like police nobody music. But if you ask me as far as
you know what I'm saying, the high vibration of music.
No, Afrobeats is definitely gonna hit you with some high vibrations. Right? Like, I don't think nobody should be listening to a lot of rap music anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just period, because that's somebody else's thoughts. Like, you got to think, you wouldn't listen to audiobooks all day long. Right? But you should, because that's you actually getting knowledge. But a rap music is somebody's thoughts and ideas, lyrics, feelings, literally being embedded and manipulated into your mind. But you would not listen to audiobooks all day. Right? Now, if they threw music on it and they had a way that you could, that would be beneficial to your brain development. Right, but listening to hip hop all day long, especially the type of rap music that's on, that's not beneficial to you becoming more high level. So I wouldn't suggest it, especially with all these mental issues that we got in the hoods. And
I can't listen to drill music at all though.
Yeah, nah, that's drill music is really like, you know, it's demon music. You know, like, and I mean by the pace. Like, first you get into the pace, like. Kanye West talk about the 808. When you get into that pace and that rhythm, that's hunting music. You understand me? Like, you might go take somebody's head off. You ask me what type of music you want to listen to. You know, throwing that drill music. You getting out your mind. You jumping into a spirit. You turn into a killer. Right? That music is inspired from like hunting and like murdering. Like, that's not, you know, positive whatsoever.
The anti-black music.
It's anti-black. It ain't healthy. But as you say, Afrobeats. I like Afrobeats, you know, because I think Afrobeats is a good evolution to the sounds that we need to be listening to, right? Because Afrobeats is healthy. Afrobeats sound more positive, more joyful, more happy. At first, you know, I wasn't in tune with it because, you know, I like gangster music. You know, I like listening to that because that's more my energy, more warrior energy, you dig? But when you listen to Afrobeats, it's like, you know, I open up with the, like, your heart chakra or something, man. And you just vibrate, you just chill. And it's like,
that's more attuned with the frequency of the gods. That's more attuned with the frequency of the black spirit in nature, right? Like, and that comes straight from the motherland. And so you appreciate that because it's like, damn, we've been important to y'all, our influence from our traumatic experiences, but not just our traumatic experiences, our consciousness, our awareness, our political revolutions, and we've put all that into the music, and we've imported that all around the world. And now Africa is giving us a gift back, right? In the sense of saying that give y'all some joy, give y'all some dance and some life, right? You all then turned us into gangsters. Y'all got us doing drill rap. Y'all got us calling each other bitches and niggas and niggas. And now we saying, how about, let's give y'all the joy of Africa, the joy of love and life. Like, that's really raw. That transference. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because our spirit, like, this is what we went through, and through the music, we're actually helping, like, now everybody else is experiencing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but this is, like, music, Black American music is the soundtrack to the Black American experience. The unique one. Good right there. That's good right there, boy. That boy was spitting.
I wanna shift the gears real quick, right? I wanna get into like some deep man-to-man talk real quick. I wanna ask you a quick question. If you, being, an adult now, we in our Christ year.
Yeah.
And I wanna ask you, what's something as an adult that you wish your father would have taught you when you were younger that you had to learn on your own?
Oh, man.
Just one thing.
Good question.
I would have to say emotional intelligence. Like for real, like being a man, you don't really learn how to deal with like those triggers, those emotions, you know what I'm saying, that shadow self, right? And like that is important, especially being a Black man and dealing with your own emotions. You kind of taught to just, put them to the side, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Not learning how to express yourself, not learning how to recognize, anger, recognize a feeling of sadness, recognize feelings of disappointment, right? Like being able to really survey your own emotions to understand that, right? I heard the saying, rise above emotions into the thinking of a God, but I didn't know what that meant, right? So like emotional intelligence, I think is a high level tool, right, that human beings can use. So being a man, I think that's where you transfer from, you masculine going to that divine masculine of your higher self, right? Because it teaches you how to deal with women, right? And then some ways you may deal with a woman is because of your lack of dealing with yourself correctly. And so you can treat her a certain kind of way. You can do a multitude of different things. Then how you deal with other men, right? Whether, you can get jealous, you can get envy, right? You can have conflict, lack of conflict resolution. So, and then that kind of goes into understanding the whole masculine and feminine perspective, right? Because that emotional intelligence, I think, allows you to truly understand, or begin to empathize, right, with women, right? And for a very long time, it's not that I didn't have no empathy for women, but I used to think that a lot of these things that women would say that were just like societal things, that they weren't real. Like just the idea of the patriarchy, right? That men rule the world. I would write that off as just like feminist propaganda, but the reality of it is it's true. And trying to think about the experience that a Black woman has in America. Because and here's the hard thing, is like the Black male experience has not been properly quantified, right? And we have it terrible, right? Statistically, I mean, right? Like I have it good, but I know other people who don't, right? Go through mental deaths while living. And then you try to think of like how hard that is for the world to ever truly understand what it's like to be a Black man and empathize with a Black man in America. And then you think about like, damn, what is it like to be a Black woman in America though? Right. You understand me? Even below the Black man. So, without having that emotional intelligence and them tools, you can never really, empathize or put yourself into that space, right? To come out with those answers, right? To come out as a better person. And then so many different things that I think, I done went through and other young men that go through as far as like, stress and depression and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
You never learn how to really deal with those things, right? You never know where does that anger come from, right? Where does those feelings come from? Like, so I think that a key of having your fathers teaching you how to deal with those emotions of being a man, right? I think that that's key, and that's something that I'm still developing, but that's something that I believe that been my journey that I learned myself, right? That's not something that was just taught. And so you're expected to be emotionally intelligent based on, the accountability you're supposed to have on how you make decisions. But it's like understanding like, if you didn't teach me emotional intelligence, then you can have an expectation that I handle these things, right, from an emotionally intelligent perspective or skill. Mm-hmm. So I think that was it. What about you?
Ooh, for me, I wish my dad would, my father would have communicated more as far as his experience and exposure to things in life. When I was growing up as a child, I used to always hear stories about how my dad was the man, the one with all the money, the cars and all the girls, So I always had that curiosity in my mind, My dad never showed me this though, like he never showed me the drug dealing side of him or, brought guns around to the house. He never showed that lifestyle to his kids, so that always left a curiosity in my mind, which led me to becoming that type of guy when I became in my adolescent years, which resulted in me going through a whole bunch of, turmoil in life, So I wish if I would have had, in-depth conversations with, what that type of lifestyle would have led to if I got involved with it prior to me getting involved with it. It would have, saved me from a lot of hardship that I went through in life. But at the same time, I don't regret it because, shit, maybe I look at it now like maybe he didn't know how to communicate that to his son, And on top of that, shit, the man that I became today from going through the hardships, I wouldn't trade that either for the world, because shit, I learned a lot, through adversity anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I think that, like, the under-father society is so many things that you're going to get from your pops that you can be naturally taught. The young cub got to learn from the old lion.
Yeah.
You understand me? Because you are your father, right? I heard the conversation, they talk about, the woman is God. And I hear many men talk about that, right? And I feel like women love it because it feels so empowering to them. Some people use it as a tool for manipulation, right? By, conceding their power and then leveraging that against them. But at the same time, when you really think about society as a whole and the dynamics between men and women, right? And just this under-fathering, growing up, you need to know who your father is so you can know who you are. Right? A boy doesn't know himself by his mother. Right? You never see a story of, I don't know my mother, so I don't know who I am. You don't know your father. Why? Because your father provides the essence of who you are. Right? That's the first piece of who you are, is his sperm. Right? Going and so I seen a comment, it's like, no, women created man. It's like, women create, I think, children. I was like, no, they don't create, they make.
Right.
Create is coming from something from nothing. Making is making something from what you're giving, from something. And she's giving, right, his essence.
Right.
So when a child wants to know where they come from, right, they have to know their father. Right? I see there was a lot of things that when I got to know my father as an adult, right?
Yeah.
That I seen he did that I had in his traits. Like every time you get angry, bite his lip. And I used to I get so angry, I bite my lip, it'll bleed sometimes. Like anytime I fight, I used to bite my lip. Mm-hmm. And then when I really thought about it, I stayed with him and I like, damn, that ain't my trait, that's his trait. And it was like overnight, I stopped doing that forever. Like it just clicked, right? And it's the same thing with your father and your parents. Your father's a mountain in which you have to climb in order to be greater, right? Because a father's supposed to make their child better, not like them. They're supposed to make their child better than them. Right, so when you look at your father and a father can give you the truth of who he is, where he come from, what he's done, you know, what's the history of the family, you now know those mountains you need to conquer.
And then if a father don't have those talks with his child, the child end up going out in the streets mirroring other men that, you know what I'm saying, that has no value.
Right. Or mirroring the bad sides of his father and the good side. You know, many people, they know your papa, well, you just like your father.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you never met him.
Right.
But that's who you are. Right? So when you know him, that's what I'm saying. Like, your father's those mountains. Like,
Right.
oh, you know, your father, he had addiction. Well, you get high too. That's your mountain to get over. Now when you get over, you better.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your father, he was wilding this way. He used to be abusive this way. Now, well, damn, that's in me, so that's what I got to get over. That's my mountain. Right? You know what I'm saying? Then you have the good qualities as well. So it's like a son or a daughter, whoever it is like, these are the things that you have to conquer, right, to go over, right? And so that's how you become a better person. But
Right.
that's why it's important for the family to know the family history. What was my grandpa like? You know what I'm saying? What my great-grandpa like?
Right.
What's in my blood? I need to know, because those are the mountains I have to conquer. And so with the world not knowing thy father, right, it's like not knowing God.
Right.
Right? Because now, you know, you don't know where you come from. You don't know the essence of it. Right? Like, a person lost and they don't know God at all. They don't have a way. So when you don't have your father, a lot of times you don't have a way. So you seek a way. So people seek different religions, sex. They think seek organizations, membership. They're trying to find, right, their father. Right? They're trying to find themselves. And so by knowing your father, you know yourself.
Yeah. So
It's real though.
yeah. Feel like shit that pretty much summed it up for this episode.
Yeah.
And you know, on the Man to Man podcast, you know, you never know what we're gonna talk about. We just end up flowing into different topics. You know.
What you think about that new Jack Hella classic though?
Jack Hella Classic, right? Let me tell y'all about Jack Hella Classic, right? Now, I've been knowing them, right, for a long time. I don't want to tell y'all the years, but it's been a long time. But I just want to say that I'm proud of bro, you know what I'm saying, artist development or whatnot. He came a long way with the music. You know, he got the voice, he got the look, he got the attire, you know, he don't be dripping nothing but Crown Society merch, you know, so the video always gonna be flat every time you see him, you know. And not even just Jack Hella Classic, man, you know, Pooh, man, I know y'all don't see him on the couch next to us, but he in the studio working. Got an album on the way too.
Yeah.
You know, so what you think about that new Pooh?
Fire. All of it is fire. I only said Jack Hella because we talked about Pooh before. I don't think we ever talked about Jack Hella.
Yeah, we gotta bring Jack Hella on,
And,
man, and introduce him to the people, right?
I just think that his music, sonically, like his voice,
Yeah.
and his
cadence.
is unique and it doesn't sound like anything out there. So that's what I listen to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying right now. Like, I ain't on no Future. I'm on Jack Hella Classic.
I do both.
And then when I do want to hear something more melodic, that's when I'm turning on Bashir.
Yeah.
You did. So, you know, I'm tapped into my bros. And, you know, like I said, Larissa, Simba, Alua, Sims, right? This is good. This is a nice little sonic playlist. You feel me? I can put together.
I know we just bigged up the bros right quick, but do you see yourself dropping a mixtape? You know, a 19 Keys mixtape, Crown Society mixtape or something this year?
It's gonna be a mixtape, but it's gonna be some kind of project though. You know, I feel like you can't. You know, when you got talent, you can't just bottle it up to yourself, man. You gotta serve it to the patrons. You know what I'm saying? That's why you gotta have bar for bars. You did.
Right.
Did you catch that? I don't know if you caught that though. You feel me? I don't know if you caught that though. You gotta serve it up to the patrons. You feel me?
Yeah.
You gotta have bars for bars.
All right, yeah, all right.
Cool.
Bar for bars, yeah, like, yeah, the bar go.
No,
Yeah, he lost me too, yeah.
Well, I said you gotta bottle it up.
Yeah.
A bar.
Yeah. All right, but answer the question though. You gonna drop some music? Is you dropping some music?
Yeah, I will. This year, 2023, I'll be dropping some music.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely will. Last year, I dropped a song last year. Yeah. Shaman. Well, I dropped a verse on that. You know what I mean?
I think the people aren't ready for a project. I know they've been saying keys, freestyles, and I be seeing the comments, bro. People say you got bars, but I think they want to see like an actual project. So that's why I'm really asking you, like, if you gonna put some effort in there.
Drop something for sure.
For sure. Like I heard them, right?
There's gonna be a music video to it.
Yeah, don't give us none of this stuff that AI done wrote for you, man. We need some 19 keys, boys, that you done wrote
AI
down yourself. Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. It'd be dope. AI can create the beat. Like, imagine that though. It get to a point where the AI create raw ass beats better than like. That's the danger. That's why I don't like AI, because of the fact that it can take away people's jobs that fast.
Man.
Because it's like there's got to be a part of society where you just really value the human being. So it's not the fact that it's done, you value life. It's like even with knowledge, like part of appreciating knowledge in like certain books, it's not just the knowledge being correct and valuable, but the human being that was able to go through the process of thinking it and putting it down in this order, right? So now you get to the point of AI is right that there's nothing about you that's remarkable anymore. Nothing, right? So, I mean, then it becomes the way you used it and stuff like that. But like, it's like listening to David Dieter book. Imagine if AI wrote that. Let's say AI be right about it, but there's a brilliance that you appreciate the author. That this author had to go through the experiences, the empathy. Now the AI is just taking the collection of humans and creating, right, synthesizing data.
But that's
that's
the perfect example of why humans still gonna be valuable, because we gonna actually go through the experience.
It's appreciation,
so
level of appreciation, because then it lets you know what's possible from human beings. AI don't let you know what's possible, right? Like when a human does something, I know I can do it, right? If AI do it, it has nothing to do with me. That's why it's greater if a human being write a book than an AI write a book. I appreciate it way more. Right? Because a human being did it. Oh, I can do the same thing. If I see a machine, swim 1,000 miles, that don't mean I can do it. If a human being does it, oh, I can do that. That's what we're capable of.
Right.
So human accomplishment shows us our capabilities. It shows us how we can stretch, right, ourselves.
Because AI they can only go as far as the data that they collected, right?
Well, it can, but it can learn, experiment, develop new information. It can go vast. But I'm just saying, as far as like, that's what human beings have been doing. Right. Human beings have been learning from each other experiments, taking that information and growing. We don't need anything to outgrow us. The pace that human evolution, academia, intellect is growing is fast enough, right? Like, why do we need something else to take that and move faster? So, like I said, there's going to be I like technology, so I'm always excited about advancements. But what I'm concerned about is the de-evolution of human beings based off them not needing to use their own human capabilities and abilities. Right. And things that
Especially the creative thinking.
Yeah, the creative thinking, imaginative thinking, storytelling, writing, right? Like, there's so many different things, like human invention and innovation. I don't just want innovations. I want it to come from humans. I really do, right? Because I appreciate it more. Things that come from artificial intelligence, it's not going to be appreciated the same way. Like, here's the thing. I like AI art. I love it because you can see the human. You can see things that was just in your imagination. So I think it's an amazing value. But the skill, the spirit, the soul
that goes into actually picking up the paintbrush.
That was all, like, I paint. So that was always my thing about art, is that when you look at a painting, you're literally seeing a person's energy. You're seeing their thoughts. You're seeing their spirit in every stroke. And so that is the admirable thing about it, right? So, but to have a AI do it, there's no soul there. There's no spirit. But, regardless of what we're saying in this conversation about our feelings towards it, because that's what makes human beings humans. It's our emotional connection to things, right? But AI will be utilized for everything, So, like, if you take AI and it can just make a movie, we'll watch it. It's a great movie, entertainment, right? But I don't think that we should get to a point where AI replaces the human spirit. in the sense of how we appreciate things. You know what I'm saying? You on your phone?
Yeah, I was scrolling looking for
Hey,
the topic just now, but I just seen some.
That's what that phone do. We talked about the magic scrolls when dudes used to look for hoes.
It just said Elvis Presley
Elvis Presley.
daughter passed away or something.
Man, why is that news? That ain't news, dude. Nobody care about no Elvis. Elvis been dead.
Oh man, I thought this was I ain't gonna lie, I thought this was somebody else though. From the picture, but
Lead us in here too. Don't cut none of this out.
I ain't
Don't cut none of
I
this
ain't
out.
mean to laugh though, like my bad, y'all. I'm tripping.
No, we just don't care, bro. People die every day.
Nah, man. Y'all should see him at your face right now, like what the hell is going on right now, man.
Cause he really just stopped. This is the problem. You know what I'm saying? This the problem with social media and technology, man. You having a human interface conversation, all of a sudden, I told you, these magic scrolls, these phones, I told the story of like, imagine if somebody in the 1850s, you know, they said, yo, I got this magic scroll and it has all of the women, oh, don't interrupt now.
Nah,
They
but I was
say,
literally looking
that's
for.
cool. I don't,
Come
no,
on,
no,
go
no,
ahead,
no, let me
finish
finish
what
my
you're
story
saying
now.
real quick, man. Go ahead.
It was a man in the 1850s. It could be 1,000 years ago. And he was like, yo, he came to bro.
No, I'm turning the volume down, but go ahead.
This is the problem, man. This new generation, man. We're just so distracted.
Go ahead.
Let me tell y'all, this is how this thing started, though. You know, like, just imagine that this was a story you heard as a kid. Like, yo, it was this guy with a scroll, and in this scroll, when you open it up, you can see everything in the world. You can see all the women in the world. You can ask it any question. It can bring food to you. It can bring anything your heart desires in the world. But they said, be careful, because once you get it, you'll become addicted to it. You'll need it for everything. You won't want to be without it. You won't be the same person. It'll be hard for people to get your attention. They're like, I ain't worried about all that. Just give me the scroll. So the man got the scroll, and everything that the man said was going to happen, happened. Right? He was glued to it every single day. He was ordering women on there, ordering food, ordering clothes. He's walking out fly, but he lived his life just for this scroll. Right? His head was always down in it. The real life did not matter. He was always on this damn scroll. And so what they decided to do, you know, is they decided to bury that because the man, he even started to having neck problems.
They buried the scroll?
They buried the scroll because they didn't want nobody else to have it because they seen the dark, right, tunnel that the guy ended up going. He was obsessed with it. He no longer lived life. The duties that he had as a regular man were no longer the same. He could no longer be satisfied with just one thing. He felt like he needed all things. And they said that, no, we can't have nobody like that. This would be dangerous if everybody got a hold of this. So they buried the scroll, right? And then years later, somebody else found the magic. And then they recreated the scroll and they decided to create a business out of it. And they said, I'm going to sell this scroll to everybody, right? And then that scroll was called the iPhone. And that's what's wrong with society now, is they caught up in the technological magic. They don't understand the magic of reality and being a human being and enjoying things for what they are, enjoying one choice, because we now have so many, right? You would imagine when you was a kid, what is it like to be God? And you imagine that God is omnipotent. He has eyes everywhere. He sees everything. Now human beings get to experience. Hold on, let me finish my story. Human beings get to experience what it's like to be God in a sense through their connection through technology. Right? So you don't have to use your imagination. You don't have to be focused on one thing. You don't have to figure out how to have discipline to, you know, just choose. Like, we just at this point where we just lose ourselves because we all have access to something. Right? And that's why I think the phone is the most dangerous invention to ever be made on the planet Earth. It is. And it's also one of the most advanced, powerful, but it's also super detrimental to a lot of people. There's always going to be people who justify it by the people who use it in a positive manner, but nobody is looking at there's automatically a large number of people who is always going to fall to the detriment of the technology, and there's always a percentage of people who is always going to fall to the benefit of it, right? There was no way to test your personality, your range of addiction first. No, you just give it the same drug to everybody and see what happens.
Right. So basically, the moral of the story is Your mind is your greatest asset.
No, I ain't the moral of the story. Moral of the story is fucking pay attention while we do the podcast. That was the moral of the story.
Nah, the moral of the story.
Don't be
for
trying to
me
sum
is-
this up on some reading rainbow type
What,
of
what I
analogy.
get from this is your mind is your greatest asset, right? And you gotta tap into your universal intelligence,
That's a wrap, man.
And I was just joking, man, but we'll see y'all on the next episode of Man to Man. We appreciate you all for, tapping in, tuning in. Please, please, please hit the like, share, and the subscribe button, and don't forget to watch the next episode. And on the next episode, we got something special for y'all, so please stay tuned. Thank you.
We're gonna try out a different host for the next one. So we just gonna rotate different people. So, if you don't see Steve, you know why. You know why.
Welcome to the Man to Man podcast, where we talk like God. Man to Man.
Higher consciousness meets fashion, meets design, meets a representation of your higher self. How do you actually earn your crown? You gotta have some knowledge of self. You have to be actively working on the path, consistently doing something great in your life, right? Now, you don't have to be a billionaire. You don't have to be a celebrity. I know I've crowned many people throughout my time, but it's more so about you recognizing who you are and you having something that connects to that in your everyday fashion, in your everyday style. You'll never see me without my crown. Why? Because it represents who I am, and I want that to communicate every single time I walk outside. The sun, moon, and stars representing freedom, justice, equality, and enlightenment, representing truth and a universal mind tapped in to the frequency of higher consciousness and purpose. If you want to represent those same standards at a higher level, and you want to have something that you can adore that represents your rulership in this universe, make sure you tap in and go to Crowns 19 and crown yourself. I'm 19 Keys, the designer of crowns, and I want to see you get crowned. Tap in.